What is happening, Internet? So, let's play a game. Today's story is about power, recklessness, and a man who single-handedly turned an entire government office into a live-action soap opera. Imagine you are one of the most powerful people in your entire country. Your job, your one job, is to catch corrupt officials, to sniff out dirty money, and to stop people from abusing their power. So what do? If you answered, "Abuse my power to film myself sleeping with 400 different women, including the wives of other powerful officials," then congratulations! You're either a complete sociopath or you are today's main character, Baltazhar Ebonga. Yeah, that name's a mouthful. Let's just call him Balti. This story is from Equatorial Guinea, and the year is 2024. Yeah, go ahead and Google it. I'll wait. And it is a masterclass in how to fail upwards and then fail so hard you crater the entire political landscape. This isn't just a Shex tape scandal. This is the Avengers endgame of Shex tape scandals. So, who is Balti? Is he just some random dude who got his iCloud hacked? Oh, no. Balti is the nephew of the president of Equatorial Guinea, Teodoro Obiang Nguema. This is a guy who has been president since 1979. He's the longest-serving president in the world. His family is the government. And Balti has a very, very important job. He is the Director General of ANIF. That stands for the National Agency for Financial Investigation. Translation? He was the country's financial watchdog, supposed to catch people doing shady business, except, plot twist, he was the shadiest one of them all. His job is to be the anti-graft boss, the anti-corruption czar, the guy who's supposed to be investigating embezzlement, abuse of office, and illicit enrichment. You cannot make this up. The guy whose literal job description is stop people from doing messed up stuff was apparently just doing all the messed up stuff.
He's a married man, a father, on a millionaire salary, and a face so confident he looked like he'd never been caught doing anything wrong. But behind that confident smile was a man who apparently documented everything. Like, my dude wasn't living life. He was recording a documentary that nobody asked for. So, how does a guy like this get caught? You're thinking, oh, an ex-girlfriend got revenge. Wrong. A rival hacker. Wrong again. The truth is dumber. The government, his own government, leaked it. See, Balti was already under investigation, but not for the tapes. He was being investigated for the boring kind of corruption. Just, stealing a bunch of public money and millions of dollars vanishing. Standard Tuesday. During this other investigation, authorities raided his office, seized his personal computer and his phone, thinking they'd find spreadsheets or secret bank accounts. Instead, they found a hard drive labeled work files. And I want you to picture the scene. There's some poor IT guy in a government basement. He's sipping his coffee, clicking through files, budgetreports.xls, taxes 2023.pdf, homework volume 1 through 400. He clicks the homework folder, his eyes get wide, he drops his coffee mug. Mother of God! It was like opening a financial crime folder and finding 50 Shades of Payroll. And then somehow, that entire folder just slips and falls onto the internet. Now, nobody knows exactly who leaked it. Maybe it was a rival politician, maybe an investigator, maybe karma itself finally learned how to use Wi-Fi. But once it hit the internet, boom. Equatorial Guinea went from low-traffic country to trending #1 worldwide. The Equatorial Guinea box set was released and it went platinum. People stopped working. Bars were full. Students were analyzing frame by frame like it was a Marvel movie. Now, what was in the tapes? Look, guys, this wasn't a greatest hits album. This was a library. The numbers that were flying around online were staggering. We're talking 300 to 400 videos. People were like, is this a scandal or a Netflix series with multiple seasons? And no, it wasn't 400 videos with his wife. The reports online said this was 300 to 400 different women. This man was not having affairs, he was speed-running affairs. He was trying to unlock the gold camo skin for infidelity. And who were these women? This is the part where it goes from a scandal to a national security crisis. Balti wasn't just finding randos on Tinder, he was shopping from the company catalog. The women in these videos were reportedly the wives of other VIPs, wives of other government ministers, sisters of high-ranking officials. It was like watching the most chaotic crossover event in history. The internet was going nuts trying to ID these women. It was like a giant, very sad game of Guess Who. Twitter users were like, "Bro, I think I just saw my governor's wife in episode 27. And the biggest rumor circulating online, the one that just made everyone's skin crawl, it was that one of the women was his own brother's wife. At that point, the internet said, "This ain't even a scandal anymore. This is a telenovela." Can you imagine that family dinner? Just tense silence, the brother gritting his teeth. But here's the real story, the story behind the story. Why would the government leak this? Why would they embarrass themselves? Because, folks, it's always Game of Thrones. Remember how I said Balti's uncle is the president for life? Well, a king needs a successor, and Balti, as his nephew, was reportedly seen as a possible successor to the throne. But you know who else wanted the throne? His cousin, the vice president, the president's son. This is a full-on family feud. And the theory that was all over the web is that this whole thing was a political hit job.
The cousin, the VP, allegedly got his hands on that computer, saw the gold mine, and just pushed the button. He didn't need an army, he didn't need a coup, he just needed a high-speed internet connection. He allegedly leaked the tapes to eliminate his rival. Which, I gotta say, is effective. It's hard to run a country when you're the star of a 400-episode Chex Tape franchise. It's a scheduling conflict. Now, the government had two choices. A, admit everything. B, pretend the internet doesn't exist. And of course, they chose B. Officials tried to ban the videos and warn people not to share immoral content. Meanwhile, the people were like, "Sir, too late. My uncle already sent it to the family WhatsApp group." The president called an emergency meeting, and the vice president went full damage control mode, promising new security cameras in offices, moral discipline, and strict regulations. Huh, yeah, bro. That ship sailed. The internet, of course, went wild. One tweet said, "At least now we know what they mean by internal affairs." And the memes? Chef's kiss. One meme showed him with sunglasses and the caption, "When you said you were watching the nation's assets, we didn't think you meant like that." But behind the jokes, there was a serious undertone. People were angry, not just because of the scandal, but because it showed how powerful men acted untouchable. The wives involved? Some were high profile, minister spouses, CEOs, even family of top officials. It became less of a scandal and more of a political earthquake. Within days, Baltazhar was suspended, arrested, and went on trial. His mansion was raided again, this time officially. They froze his accounts, seized his cars, and opened a corruption case. And get this, during questioning, he allegedly said, "I am a man, and I made mistakes." Bro, mistakes? You don't record 400 mistakes. That's a full-time job. At this point, you need HR, lighting equipment, and a camera crew. The irony? He was supposed to fight corruption. Instead, he became the poster boy for what happens when you take public service too literally. So what happened next to Balti? Well, he faced court, and here is my favorite part of this entire story. They didn't convict him for the tapes. They didn't convict him for this massive, ethical, moral, personal violation. No, they convict him for embezzlement. Basically, the official reason he went to jail was for stealing money, not for starring in Equatorial Guinea's biggest reality show. It's the Al Capone story. They couldn't get him for being a one-man wrecking ball of high society marriage, but they could get him for tax evasion. They got him on the boring crime. He was sentenced to a long time in prison and had to pay massive fines. And the final piece of irony? The cousin, the VP, the guy who allegedly leaked the tapes to secure his own power, he went on TV and publicly warned government officials against office sex. The government even issued a new rule banning intimacy in official premises. Like, imagine that even had to be written down. So, Baltazhar Ebonga, the man, the myth, the human disaster. He was supposed to catch the corrupt, but he was just too busy being corrupt adjacent. At the end of the day, his story is a masterclass in what not to do when you are powerful. He could have been remembered as a brilliant economist, a national reformer, or a decent leader. Instead, he's remembered as the man who literally documented his downfall. Moral of the story? If you're going to hold a high office, maybe don't turn it into a content studio. Or better yet, if you're going to commit sins, at least don't save them in 4K Ultra HD labeled work stuff. Anyway, that's the story of Baltazhar Ebonga, the man, the myth, the human disaster. I'm out. Let me know what you think in the comments. See you in the next video. And please, for the sake of humanity, clear your hard drives.